we're live. Good evening, everyone, and happy Youth Month. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the KQ podcast. Now, please remember to like and follow us and share us on our various social media platforms. Those are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I am your host, Akuna Kopela, and this is the Power of Conversation. Joining the conversation tonight is a linguist and language educator, Keenan George. Later on in the evening, we will be joined by our co-host, presenter Kanye Ndogobana as well. Now, for those of you who would like to make service or make use of our advertising services rather, please do contact us via our WhatsApp line. Our WhatsApp line is available on our Facebook page. Send us a message and we'll get back to you with a quote. This month, we will have a running theme for the month of the youth, which will be our original one for the KQ podcast, which is Descendants of 1976, or 76 rather. On June 1976, June 16, 1976, there was a student-led uprising, because in that year, the apartheid regime decided to introduce Afrikaans as the only medium of instruction. This led to this uprising, of course, which resulted in the countless deaths and injured school students. These are local students, local school students that we're talking about. And this is the reason why we celebrate this month, not only the month, the day especially. Which brings us to our topic, our main topic of tonight, which is linguistic freedom, personal linguistic freedom rather. But enough of that for now. We'll touch on a lot more about that with Keenan later on in the show after our brief ad break. We just want to do a little bit of recap.
Yes.
What happened on Monday?
Indeed.
And over the weekend, Danny.
It's Youth Month. So, are we still singing Freedom is Coming Tomorrow or Freedom is Here? Can we change the song or?
No, well, I mean, I think we're still fighting for freedom.
Are we still fighting?
I think so. I think that's why we remember these, we celebrate these, these holidays, public holidays.
Yes.
It's a commemoration. We are still in the struggle to liberation. It's just, yes, we've come a long way so far. It's a very protracted struggle, or revolution rather. But yeah, I can play Freedom is Coming if you want.
Please, check for the song for me. Welcome everybody. My name is Danny Kim Melody. Yes, I'm gonna do a little recap about Monday's show, which I was co-hosting with my boys, Austin and Kid Nameless.
A cool kid named Liz.
Oh, and what a name!
It is.
Yes. So
I practiced that name.
We were talking about economic development. So it really linked with today's topic, because this year's theme is collaborating with youth mostly, and developing youth. So 1976, a lot of things happened. But still today we're still facing the same challenges. We're fighting for our future. So yeah, today we're gonna unpack everything. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting us week in, week out. What episode are we?
I just know we were making a month also today. It's
we're making a month also.
Anniversary. And the first time we aired was on the 1st of May. So, so let's talk about the recap, what you guys spoke about on Monday. You guys spoke about business development, especially as it pertains to the youth, I would presume. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you mentioned that the government's theme for youth, because they always have a youth theme every month, like every year for Youth Month, and this year it's collaborative efforts, accelerating the collaborations and opportunities to improve the youth's life, well, the lives of the youthful or the new people. Yeah, it's like, but you know, what do you think that we still need to do? I mean, like, I think it's quite interesting that you guys spoke about that on Monday, and then you know today is Youth Month, and that is also the theme.
Focus, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we knew what the theme of the government was this year on Monday.
No,
we weren't
we had
really
no
sure.
idea.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think it is the atmosphere, the energy is there so that people.
Yes, I think we should look into it because I think we are on 46th anniversary from 1976 now.
From 1976, yes. Yeah,
somewhere there.
definitely.
Yes, and we need to look like the changes, like from what's the difference between the youth of 1976 and us now.
But you would agree that at least we have made some strides. If you have to look at, not that I'm suggesting that it's enough, we still have a long way to go, but I always believe that if you make some kind of acknowledgement for us, for how far we've come, we can put a benchmark as to how far we actually still have to go. You know, because, I mean, if you think about it, the youth of 1976, that was, apartheid was still kind of, it wasn't fresh, but it was like at its peak.
Yeah.
Right? Like the apartheid regime was really strong at that time. For them to be able to do whatever they did,
that's powerful.
That's powerful.
I think
right?
they were ambitious.
Too much. That's why
I think we are too relaxed, man. We are too relaxed. Like we don't fight like them, like to compare. But they stood and they fought for their education, everything that we have now. It's them. It's not us mostly. And if we can look at it.
And you can like if you were in a local school, government school, like I think it's mandated that you can get like school books, textbooks, they're translated in all official languages. I think if you go, definitely. If you go to the Eastern Cape, if you go to Mpumalanga, you'll find a school that will, like, you know, with books in Sipedi.
Yeah, like English this side, then it's your home language.
Yeah, it's you will still have your home language as well, which is quite important. But I think we still need to develop, obviously, these other native languages that aren't as developed as Afrikaans is. But I think we've come a long way. I don't think people have a problem getting instructed in school in their own languages. I think the only problem that we struggle with today now as the youth is the resources that we have to use. The facilities, they are not completely up to scratch, but they are available at least. And so that's the acknowledgement that I'm talking about. We have to acknowledge, okay, you know, it's available. Unfortunately, yes, you might still have to sit in a classroom where the roof is falling, which is not great. Which is why I'm saying, you know, freedom is still coming. We still have to fight for it. There are huge amounts of impoverished regions that we have been privileged enough to not experience as much.
Yeah, we have it's a freedom of expression. You can express yourself in your own home language. I can speak Sotho now.
Yeah,
we are free. So there's no
please don't speak Sotho. I have a horrible side of that. Okay, no,
you lived in Bloom.
They're sweet people, but they do not compromise. They do not compromise. But I guess that's, you know, it's living in SA, right?
It's living in SA. Even in Northern Cape, they don't compromise Africans.
No, that's not
true. They tell you straight.
That's not true. We speak our broken English. Here in Friska, at least we speak our broken English. Go to
maybe I'm having different experience. Because most people will tell you, this is not from Cape Papa. Africans, that time you want to ask.
Yeah. No, I mean, you'd like, that's where you just speak your language and then they'll just call you some racist derogatory term.
Where in Blue?
No, here in the Northern Cape. Like, you speak your language and then we'll try and accommodate you. Come on, you know this. You've lived here for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, so you're admitting you've been here for 10 years now?
No, I'm not here for 10 years. Imagine I'm only here for 3 years.
That's a lie.
I will stick to that.
That's a lie. Why are you sticking to that? Why are you sticking to that?
No, that's the honest truth.
COVID is turning 4 years old. There's no way you've been here for
Is
3
it 4
years.
years?
I don't know, my math is probably failing me, but I think so.
No, that's
20,
long. That's long. Don't count.
Yeah.
So,
but to get back to the topic of Monday and the government's efforts in trying to accelerate these collaborations and opportunities to make them available to the youth, to make sure that the youths, improve our lives. Can you think that in 1976, it was probably not even legal for a black person to own a business?
No.
I don't think it was. Like, I'm not so aware, but like, I don't think it was. You were allowed to do that as a black person.
No, they saw us as only for labor.
Yeah, there were those few sellouts here and there that got
I don't think there was even one person. But there was few. There was few. There were.
You have there were rich black folk in apartheid, but obviously referred to them as the gatekeepers of white wealth. Once they all started wearing suits, driving Mercedeses, German cars, all of these things that have been imported. You have them. You have and I hope I don't get under fire for this, but you had the Royal Bafokeng family. They're still rich. Like, they're old money rich. They were rich back in the day. They're wealthy now.
Yeah, that's topic for someday.
You have the Zulus.
Thinking of what you say.
Yeah, you have the Zulu, not to sound tribeless, but you had the Zulu tribe, monarchy. They had money, back in the day.
The other day, I was when I was home, I was asking my mom, like your age group, most of them they had. Actually, I was asking my granny, your age group, they have farms, they have lands. What did you do? Why you don't have those? Like, we were just talking about. She was telling me a lot of stories, like apartheid times, a lot of things. So I was just asking, why you don't have a land? Why you don't have a farm?
Yeah.
So what happened? Why you never went to study? What happened to you? Like others, you have a sister. She's a nurse.
Yeah.
She's 80 also now. Like they are old. So what was the difference? Like what was happening? Why other people managed to survive and be educated, be lawyers? Those times, others they didn't get opportunity. Like
that's an interesting topic. Like, maybe we should talk about that. But we have the entire month to talk about that.
Yes.
Like, June is the only month where we can freely speak about apartheid and not feel like, guys, it's in the past. Get those words. I hate those words anyway. But I think also, my uncle, he told me this thing that he never really liked, because he also studied in the era of apartheid. They had to travel very far because they were colored and black universities only, like UWC. It was only for the colored and black people to go there. They couldn't go to UCT. UCT was only for white people. And I'm sure there are other counterparts in other provinces as well. But he mentioned something very interesting to me. He said that, and if you watch Sarafina, I know that's probably not a great term of reference, point of reference, but he mentioned that back in the day, black people in particular, and colored people, they were limited to studying options. They had to study education, nursing, or become a policeman. And like he referenced it in a very sad way. He says so that the white people don't have to deal with us of that era, because I don't believe that there were enough white people back in the day to teach so many black people. I don't believe there were enough white people to nurse and tend to black people in hospitals back in the day, to so many. So they had to do those things, especially even the police. There were black policemen as well that had to, arrest your friends, or your people. And it was that kind of tone that was said there. You would not necessarily hear about somebody that studied medicine, because when I think about the prominent white or the prominent medicine professionals, or like, these professionals. You think about Christian Barner, the guy who operated and performed the first heart surgery. His assistant was a black guy, but the only reason why the black guy couldn't perform the surgery was because he never because he never studied medicine. He wasn't allowed to study medicine because you could only study medicine at UCT.
But he's an assistant.
He was his assistant because he went from being a porter in the hospital, from cleaning floors to porter to becoming an assistant. And I actually feel bad that I don't remember his name right now, but I tried to read about it. Yeah, but it's so unfortunate. He was at least he was.
And it was good, I think.
At least he was recognized for the Nobel Prize that they got. But it's unfortunate, that we don't know about these stories. We do not shed light on these stories for ourselves and for the youth of today. Because how can we believe that we are truly great if somebody tells us only by words and we don't have reflections or role models that attest to the said statement that you are black, you are beautiful, you are great. But we don't have all of those stories. We only have Nelson Mandela, and listen, great respect to Dada. But I'm just saying, like, it's just him and Desmond Tutu. It's just him and Desmond Tutu. Like, if you hear, it's just, you never hear about Owar Tambo enough. We only know, people only know Owar Tambo as the international airport.
Yeah.
But we don't know about Owar Tambo, how he founded a youth organization that's still alive today, even years after the oppression. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how people think slack. Because I was also like to my people, it's like, why are you guys not? But they have the answers and they're not,
they have answers. Yeah,
but don't have the answers. But yeah, I think we still need to, as the youth, we also have to take responsibility for that. Because I am at an impasse love-hate relationship with our peers, right, the youth.
Yeah.
Because, we're enjoying all of these freedoms that we have, and these rights, but we miss the responsibility part of it. Don't you think? That we have a responsibility. Remember in grade 4, they'll say rights and responsibilities, we only read the rights.
Yeah, rights only.
It's like, you can't really slide it rechter.
I think to look at it, the main problem that we facing, I think we're facing different challenges than them. They were fighting, I think the main thing, I don't know about other aspects, but they were fighting for freedom. That was freedom of education, freedom of speech, just to be free.
What are we fighting?
We are fighting now. We have unemployment.
We're fighting each other.
Youth employment, teenage pregnancy.
We're fighting each other.
So we are fighting each other now.
Because if you think about,
because we have everything. If you want to be a doctor, go study, finish your school, do your matric, go to school. There's no way.
And do it well.
Do it well.
Do it well, like
there's help out there,
right?
There's bursaries, there's everything. You can fly.
Exactly, but then you'll hear people say, but we are also not granted opportunities to run our own country because it's filled with grannies and granddads. Which is true. Which is true that the part
who says that you? That's our gays. I love gays. They can't talk.
The graduates and you guys in social media, you're like, what is the retirement age?
That's
only. But
I don't know what to talk about it. Because if you can look at Paspala, they are old. We want jobs. You see someone 60, 70, they are still working. What's happening?
But you see, the problem is with what I have with that statement is that when we look at Parliament and Cabinet, these old people, the biggest demographic of the population, which is the youth, we do not take responsibility for that because we do not even vote. And people like, no, I don't want to be part of politics. I don't want to be part of politics. I did cloud reporting once with the IEC, and They had the poorest number. And so can we really be
And we complain. Why? We're not voting, but we're complaining.
Exactly.
We don't
Can we be surprised? We don't have this, we don't have this. That's what I'm saying. We're fighting each other. I understand. Maybe it's not as easy to just wake up one day and just decide to organize yourself because of the challenges that we have. But if you just have to think, man, our mothers, right? Like our mothers had to jump on my fence. You understand? Just to get to school.
No. Even that day in 1976, how many people died? Youth.
They say in Sharpeville, where the thing happened, it was a massacre. It was 100. It was above north of 176. Wow. It was north of 100, but that's just an estimation. Other people say it's different because they obviously tried to sanitize it back in the day, and the thousands that were injured, 1,000 plus. You know, it was a lot. Soweto was a big place back in the day. It was a huge population of people that stayed there. You know.
Yeah.
That was something. Like, you know, our people like to travel far.
I'm starting to get emotional now.
Yeah. No, yeah, that is an emotional thing. That's why we have to have the emotional intelligence, maturity, and also we need to be honest when we have this conversation.
Yeah.
You understand? With ourselves as well. As the youth, we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps because we do have bootstraps.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Like, you can't say that we don't have bootstraps to pull anywhere. We do. We have government resources that we can make use of. However, we are failing to do so because we can't take responsibility. We want to sit back and let the government do everything for us. And that's just my opinion. I know I'll probably get under fire for that, but I really think we as the youth, we need to organize ourselves. Nobody's going to do it for us. We need to organize ourselves. We need to take responsibility. That's the only way, because our parents, they're going to die out one day. You understand? And we are raising kids right now. You understand? We need to be great role models for them as well. So that's why I liked Monday's topic particularly.
Yeah, that's why on Monday we said we no longer the youth for the future. We are now.
Yeah.
It's now or never.
I don't
That
know.
thing of future, youth is the future. Youth. What are they saying?
I don't know. The future is now.
Future.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
I
what
don't
you're
know.
saying.
I know what
Future is
they're
now.
saying.
So yeah, I think we're gonna take a quick break.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a break now.
We are due for a break. But before we go to the break, I just want to say as well, I don't want to be remembered. I don't want the youth of now. We call ourselves millennials in the Gen Y, Gen Z, I don't know these terms. But we call ourselves millennials, right? If you look at the baby boomers, which are our parents, they are doing considerably much better than we are doing as a youth.
Yeah.
These are the people that have bonds, or they've paid off their bonds. These are the people that have retirement packages waiting for them, or that they have retired, they have pension funds. These are the people that, and they started at an early age, you understand? I mean, like, if you look at them, they are doing considerably much better than we are, and they are leaving the workforce. Right now, we are not even trying to break that barrier much to get into that workforce. I don't care what people tell me. I don't think the youth is too serious about getting into the workforce. We want money.
We want quick things.
We want quick things. And once we have the money, we want the money for now. We don't think about how this thing is going to benefit us in the future, or the generation that comes behind us. Right? So I don't want to be remembered as the broke youth millennials of 2013 or whatever, right? I want to be commemorated. I want to be remembered like the baby boomers are remembered for. You know, that, no, these people worked, you know, by 70 and shit. Because if you have to look at it, like,
They worked.
It doesn't matter whether it was being a domestic worker. That was, they made mountains move. Right? Today they are grandmothers. With their pension, they're still making mountains move. You see people at
Supporting
supporting us. You'll go to graduations. I get so emotional when I go to a graduation and I sit there and there is a grandmother in the audience or in the auditorium right? You just know that her pension money, it was part of that piece of paper that you got that day. You understand? And that is just one of the things. But yeah, before we get into deep dive into that whole, we can even speak a lot about business development.
There's a lot to talk about this month. So you at home, I think you also have challenges that you're facing as a youth. Please let us know on the comment. We're coming back. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. And after the break, we will have Keenan George, the young and vibrant linguist and higher education or further education language teacher, to join us, and we will be divulging into the language topic, which is the reason why we had the Sharpeville massacre, why we remember the names of Hector Peterson. But for now, we will have a short break, an ad break. And remember, for those of you who wish to use our advertising platform and services, do get in touch with us. We'll get back to you with a quote in no time. We are very responsive. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. We will be back after this short break. I'm your host. This is the Power of Conversation. Tonight, well, for the second segment of our show, we are joined by our special guest speaker, Mr. Keenan George, and also a familiar face just arrived, Ms. Kanye K, but I'll allow themselves to introduce themselves again to you guys.
You can introduce me most again.
Okay, maths and science teacher. She just came back from a maths and science workshop. How was that? How was that?
It was really fruitful. But I missed the show. I'm glad I'm here.
I'm glad you make it. Mr. Keenan George.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's nice being here.
Yeah. So as you've been briefed, hopefully you have been briefed enough. You are a language teacher and a linguist. You are teaching at Harip High School. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. So you know the topic for tonight is linguistic freedom. So as we spoke on the show earlier about 1976 and the student-led uprising, it was mainly one of the main four causes was the introduction of Afrikaans as the only medium of instruction in local schools. And obviously that resulted in a lot of blood, unnecessary blood spilled. So now we are able to speak our languages, we are able to get instructed in our own languages in schools. So we can see it as a right. We can see it as a right that we have attained post-apartheid for that. But we want you to talk about personal linguistic freedom rather. As a right, why do we have to preserve it? Why do we have to develop our languages, our home languages?
Yeah.
And I understand for a lot of us, Afrikaans is our home languages, but for a lot it isn't also. For many it's not as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, the floor is yours.
Mine.
And as well, Ukangi
Okay.
as well. Yeah. If she has any-
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see me. It's nice being here. Thank you for having me. Actually, my mother tongue is Afrikaans, so my English data bundle gets depleted sometimes.
Yes.
So I'll rather stick to Afrikaans and leave the English out, even if I studied English at university. But die basiese ding wat ek sien dit amper as linguistieke vryheid, the linguistic freedom. I see there is daar is 'n tipe van 'n teenstelling tussen linguistieke vryheid, want ons het nie 'n linguistieke vryheid nie. We have a linguistic boldness to a sense. So because we have 11 official languages, there's another teenstelling, a paradox there with the 11 official, because official means there's only need to be one.
Okay,
You see?
yeah.
So now we have 11 official languages as South Africans, so how do we embrace that? As a person, and me as an educator, how do I embrace that as a teacher? Because moreoverly, learners want to learn in the language that they want to learn because people tell them, because the language policy told people to be taught in their mother tongue. But the problem that we do not have literature. And not literature in regards of fiction or books or autobiographies and that stuff. Literature like academic content are not yet created in our African languages. So we have a problem. English and Afrikaans, they are from the same language family. Ons noem dit in Afrikaans Indo-Germaans. So as makliker vir die twee tale om oor en weer met mekaar te beweeg, maar die African languages, as so daar so 'n diagram wat geteken is in die Afrikaans, die African languages is aan die onderkant. Gesit.
Why?
Specific by the colonizers and by the Western people.
Yes.
And that's why I come in with linguistic freedom
Okay.
as a person. In South Africa, what do you think is the official language?
English.
English, of course. And where does it come from?
From
Colonizers come
England.
England.
Colonization, and it's onderdrukking. And where does Afrikaans come from? From apartheid. Weer onderdrukking. And you know what? I was watching an interview yesterday with from Anela Mdota show, Real Talk with Anela Mdota, Abigail Kubeka. She's a very famous cabaret singer.
Okay.
So she said that in the apartheid era, they didn't want to, they were liberal towards the apartheid government, and they didn't want to speak Afrikaans or be taught in Afrikaans. And then all of a sudden, when the new South Africa came, hulle het Afrikaans begin praat. They use the Vanaga law, and there's always Afrikaans in the Vanaga law. Always.
I think it's because Afrikaans is power.
It is. It
It's
does.
linked to you feeling powerful when you, let's say in varsity. In varsity, the moment you know that, or your lecturer knows that you part Afrikaans, dan is it, oh, why are you clear? And immediately you gain power.
Yeah.
Immediately there's an advantage for you. Let me put it that way. There's an advantage for you because you are now in between those. You can speak Afrikaans, you can speak Xhosa, you can speak Tswana. So it gives you so much advantage, which shouldn't be the case because any language should be giving you advantage. Not specific, but there's certain type of advantage that Afrikaans give you that other language don't.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel bold in my linguistic freedom.
Yeah, I was like before we
Yeah.
do that, like I was gonna ask like to you guys, that's boldness.
Yeah.
That would be more
Yeah.
linguistic boldness.
Yeah.
And we
So
have
not
that.
freedom.
Yeah, I have freedom and I have power, and the way that I taught myself to learn more about Afrikaans paves the way for other people, because when they hear me speak Afrikaans in a proper manner, ons praat van standaard Afrikaans, then they have a specific picture or opinion of me.
So yes, prejudice being painted.
Prejudice being painted almost superior. You see,
Yeah.
they see me as superior. That's the thing that I like about my boldness of my language. But I do not regard other people's languages as non-void. I also respect their languages. And like me and my colleagues there, they speak isiXhosa. And I try to try, but I'm not getting it right, but I try to get there. Just to show them as a person, as my colleague, as my friend, I also want to know your language because I want you to embrace that identity of yours. That's the thing.
Identity.
Yeah, again,
Identity. So language is linked with identity.
Always. And power is linked with identity. That's the most...
You mentioned something earlier on about like literature, right? And you spoke about academic literature. Right now we know, ons weet mos nou, as jy school toe gaan, if you go to school, jy laat in Afrikaanse praat.
Welcome to my
Maar
boldness.
like, jy weet, dat is ons JB-pikke gestudeer, reg genoeg, né? En daar so pikke is nog steeds double medium,
Yes.
Afrikaans en Engels, as medium of instruction. Ik kan ons natuurlijk niet naar NMU toe gaan of Walter Sisulu toe gaan en van ons Xhosa gaan studeren. Wat kan ons doen om die taal of die andere Afrikaan talen te ontwikkelen? Want ik denk dat is de reden waarom hulle niet een academische formaat is nie. Dis omdat hulle nie geontwikkel is.
They're not developed enough.
Soos wat Afrikaans is nie, want soos ek bedoel, in Afrikaans jy kan wetenskaplike terme noem, maar in Xhosa, ken jy wat is physical science in Xhosa nie.
But remember, it was out there, I think a few years back, around curriculum, they wanted to strengthen them. But the problem is, we don't have enough vernacular writers in terms of literature. And let's say we do develop enough to say, okay, now this is it. We would have to start from scratch. I mean, teachers will have to go to workshops, because now I don't see myself teaching maths in isiXhosa. What is algebraïsche uitdrukking? Of algebraïsche vergelijking? Of boardmass, brackets of division and multiplication. You know, in Xhosa. Guys, we'll have to start from scratch.
But even the universities as a whole, they do not have space for language improvement. Because look at our language department. They study the Western languages, German, Latin.
Yes.
All of those. So our African language are never there. And then you come to the education faculty and others to deal must know they do Africa language van je moeder hè. Als deel van die curriculum as a student wat teaching study. Maar ik heb dan 100% gegeven voor Setswana, maar ik kan nog niet eens woord verstaan. Yeah, I had Setswana and I had 100% for Setswana. So how do we then? You asked me that question. Hoe gaan ons nou maak dat ons die talen bietjie optel? There are few writers that write in African languages, but they are too few. And the problem is that our society make what you think. We are now under the umbrella of apartheid because language goes with apartheid in South Africa's context.
Yeah,
definitely.
You cannot remove that from that. But maak wat jy wil, kan ek jou sê, oor hierdie hele taal ding en hierdie hele literature ding wat aan die gang is. Jy kan maar maak wat jy wil. Mense het ge-westernized. Mense het ge-westernized. Let me leave it there. Mense het ge-westernized. Ons leefwys het ons ge-westernized in the way we speak. Ek en Jay praat nou so proper English.
Yeah.
Because it also, you know what we call that? We call it waarnemers paradox.
Okay.
Waarnemers paradox is wanneer die superior group of people that speaks a specific language in a specific manner that sounds proper according to media, according to societal laws.
Yeah.
So we also adapt that. You see. So we want to then refrain from speaking in the vowels and the sounds from our own languages, so that we sound like this perceived as paradoxal context that we are sitting in. So we are westernized.
Yeah. So it's like that actually brings you to the description of linguistic freedom. If you think about it, it talks about the right the right that you can conduct your administrative, judicial activities. En dan ga je hof toe. Dan moet tolkers is.
Ja.
Verstaan je? Want die probeer daar vanaf komen, verstaan je? Je kan Engels willen studeren, verstaan je? So ons
We are in conflict.
We are in conflict.
We are
in
constant conflict.
In constant. Yeah, because when the universiteit ek wil nie in klas Engels staan nie. Verstaan jy? Of in Afrikaans, jy gaan in Engels in. So dan kom ek terug. Dan moet ek in elk geval, as ek wil staatsaanklaer is of magistraat is of wat ook al, dan moet ek in elk geval, daar is nog steeds spasie vir 'n translator.
Remember,
moet 'n translator wees.
People also still link language with intelligence. I think we're also stuck there. So it can't be freedom because other people feel like when you speak English in a certain way,
They've been saying that, you see, the comments.
You
guys, I'm not the topic.
No, you're not. But examine it. Just because people don't really listen to the content.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That
you go
is
to, what you say, how you say it.
Yes.
How you rephrase your word.
The
phonetics,
yeah.
You understand, around what you say.
Yeah.
So without you even saying what you need to say or whether it makes sense or not, just the way you speak, you're like, no, you know what?
Makes sense. Makes sense. They're like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
It really makes sense. But the moment someone comes and says, no, perhaps we should,
I was like, no, this one. Yeah, we don't listen. Because like, this one, where did he go to school? What does he say?
Simple question. With me, I was charging Dr. Mapuya for speaking in the way he's speaking.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to even doctors speaking in that manner. So if a doctor speaks properly, according to me, volgens die waarnemers paradox, dan zal ik nou luisteren. Maar ik heb Dr. Mapuya gelost and then I went to Robert Lyman, not because I am a racist, but because in the manner that he speaks.
But he's so intelligent.
He's so intelligent, but I only know that now. But I was judgmental as a person.
Thank you thank you that you're mentioning evident things that happen.
Yeah,
because it's not only linked to our skin color.
No,
it's really linked to the language. How we say things.
Language thing. There's a guy. His name is Rafense.
Yeah, the musician.
He's a musician.
Sure.
That you see, it's not about his skin color.
Yeah.
Language and the way he speaks. His linguistic freedom in that arena of the Afrikaans music industry.
Sure.
So as hy vir die kom sing waar hulle nie of sy vel nog bietjie donker is, they embrace him and they encourage him sing nog vir die sing boere maak ons dood.
Wie's dat?
Is a Tswana komstige ou wat in Afrikaans sing, maar hy sing met 'n gitaar. Kyk hier, Steve Hoff made it next up for me.
No.
You lie.
I'm telling you. He has an album out called Afrikaans My Taal.
Yeah.
As Afrikaans
it's not his language.
It's not his language.
His linguistic freedom and boldness in that arena.
It's not.
I love
He's
the guy.
bold
I
in
haven't
that.
seen him cut a
No, but he's bold in his freedom. You see, that's why I say my linguistic freedom, not linguistic freedom, but my boldness in my linguistic freedom.
Sure.
You see what I mean?
Sure.
Because
you are bold within the freedom. You are free.
Yeah.
But you are bold.
I'm free because they allow me.
Okay.
But societal laws does not allow me. Because what if I walk into a room where people only speak Afrikaans and I cannot speak Afrikaans? And they do not want to speak English. How free am I then? As a person.
Yes.
How free am I then when I come to Orania, that town there, just a pass-through?
Yeah.
A visitor, because you can visit, you can go through.
Yeah.
So what if they do not want to speak English in that regard, and I cannot speak or understand a word or even a vowel or consonant of Afrikaans? How free am I then as a person,
Yeah.
as a linguist?
You're not free.
I'm not free.
You are not.
I'm not free. How free am I if I am in a social gathering and the people are only speaking Tswana? We were all at universities.
Yes.
How free are you? You speak Xhosa, they speak Setswana, and how free are you as a person in your linguistic arena? You are not free because they won't understand you.
Can we now come to Priska?
Yes.
We have how many languages?
And please, I think you have to. I don't know. Afrikaans. Afrikaans is the only one. I don't think.
But Akona, why would you speak?
And Priska, there's only one language here. Go to. No,
Guys,
listen.
Google is Xhosa.
No, listen.
Sikhona.
Officially, if you go to any institution, in whether it be a supermarket, whether it be Pamaspala, whether it be
It's
school,
Afrikaans, baby.
you are received with Afrikaans. If you go to the hospital, you are received in Afrikaans.
So we're not free. Because
No. You are bold because you can speak Afrikaans.
Okay.
deep.
Right? Am I get that right?
You guys right.
As a colleague that taught English, as a colleague that taught English and you know, memorizing the teachers this class.
Yes.
How free are we then when we need to teach those two languages using Afrikaans to explain them to the learners?
We're not.
We're not free.
We're not.
Not as a society. Because mem uses Afrikaans sometimes to teach the learners to understand some of the terms and the the new content of the subject. So how free are we? And we are not free in Priska. You practice the Xhosa language in your home, maybe. I don't know. You practice it there and you speak to each other in Xhosa because it's your mother's mother tongue and she
I can't even say we completely practice it anymore, honestly speaking, because for the ones that are now growing up, it's difficult having to speak Afrikaans and Xhosa at the same time. So now we do expose them to Afrikaans because when they get out there, they are exposed to Afrikaans. It's Xhosa, yes, but it's not 100%.
This actually takes me back. We remember ek onthou altyd as die kinders gekom het van die Kaap af wat wil by Arthur Williams skool geloop het. Dat die 'n woord van Afrikaans praat nie. Jy kan die jaar in die einde van die jaar praat die Afrikaans. Fluent and I believe die Xhosa praat.
You know my younger sister, it's spelling bee. Al die 2 year plek gekry in Afrikaans.
Yes.
And people will be in conflict because you must have a Xhosa teacher. Oh, I'm like, guys, see again.
freedom.
She was seeking out freedom because you don't have freedom
If you look at it, nah.
If you look at it, it says
Does Danny have freedom?
I don't know.
If it's Tswana because he's Sotho speaking.
Danny, I don't know.
Because he's amongst us.
But Danny, I've never heard him speak Sotho though. So he's also seeking out freedom. Hy sal eerder Engels praat. Dis hy maar hy sal dit durf om soms Sotho te praat. Even you don't listen.
Who's going to listen to him?
Who's going to listen to him? Like nobody's going to listen to him
to react.
Why did you go to Hoërskool Priska?
Who, me?
Was it because of you feeling limited? Was it because of not having freedom? Was it because of why? Because Xhosa.
Yeah, no. The move to Hoërskool Priska was unplanned. Ek onthou ek het letterlik ek was ingeskrywe die dag toe die skool oopmaak. Because ek moes Kaap toe gegaan het. Want ons moes Engels gedoen die hele tyd. You understand? So toe ek nou plek gekry by 'n skool in die Kaap in.
Alright.
Maar daar was een of ander ek het my man gesê nee man. Verstaan jy? Ons praat in Afrikaans die hele tyd. Vereis. Gaan net Hoërskool Priska toe. Hoe moeilik kan dit wees?
How was it?
Ek moes. Dis hoekom my Afrikaans nie meer so klink soos wat my Afrikaans gewees het voordat ek Hoërskool Priska toe gegaan het nie. Toe ek Hoërskool Priska toe gaan. Toe vind ek uit, okay, nie die Afrikaans wat ek praat is die Afrikaans. As die Afrikaans wat ek het. So for me, I had to overcompensate, obviously. I had to overcompensate so that I made sure that I do not fail a year. You understand? Because now I have to do more for Luachi and all of those things.
Oh, fine.
In my first quarter, I remember, like, I did pretty well actually, which they didn't understand. Your mom was one of those people. Like, they didn't understand why I did so well. But to say, like, he just explained it. The Varnimus paradox. So you see, okay, now if I speak Afrikaans like this, maybe the teacher will listen to me, and that literally is the case.
It is.
If you speak Afrikaans in a proper manner and the way that they're used to it, they will listen to you because then you make sense to them. Maar praat jy nog soos wat jy praat soos daar weeklik waar ek vanaf kom?
Ja.
En dan heb je say is lay.
Yeah.
En gaan terugloop, doen je werk recht. Of like, you know, they just paint you with like, you know, a prejudice brush.
But your surname at this point does not have anything to do with you being Kombela.
Nah.
As long as you can present yourself and there's this paradox that you are
Kind of like you said, like I stayed in Afrikaans. I don't know why Afrikaans is following me. When I went to Boston, I stayed in Afrikaans, historically white residence.
Sure.
Called JBM, right? I refused to speak Afrikaans there, right? Because I just felt like it was quite oppressive because, you know, there are other people there. Now I have to translate to the black kids, the fellow black kids that are there, what is being said in the house meetings, whatever. So I speak.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it was very interesting. So this one day I get a phone call from my mom. Obviously I'm not going to speak English with my mom. It's like, you see, conversation. And I draai om en ek een wit oukie wat soos like ons gang primers. Hy staan daar so, hy waag te klap praat. Soos ek omdraai, staan hy daar so. Wees my so, praat nooit weer saam met jou Engels nie. Because they don't like speaking English. You understand? And that, you know, it's very interesting. And this one day I went to the faculty and I could literally see how I was going to get an incomplete for an assignment that I got the date wrong for. Do you know what I did? Yo, Afrikaans, I pulled out the Afrikaans there because it's all white, right?
Because it's power.
It has power. It has power because the deadline was the morning.
Sure.
Right? That was in the morning. But in my mind, I was like, okay, no, the date is the date, right? I go there, she shows me, you understand? I did begin praat ek Afrikaans, sê ek, ag, jy sit daar nie. Ek was so besig geweest.
Waarom was paradox?
And then she, because everybody is mevrou genoem word.
Yeah.
As jy 'n tannie noem, verstaan jy?
Hoe kom jy mevrou nie? What's with mevrou Tannie ding?
Mevrou Tannie, mevrou.
I don't know.
If you call them Tannie, they feel like you are theirs. You are
Yeah,
one of them.
yes.
But if you call them mevrou, then they think we are not.
Yeah, we're not the same. As that.
Oh, you guys.
So basically, what I thought now while you were speaking is that linguistic freedom has to do with context.
Okay.
It does.
So I was traveling with Mr. Blockfana them to Eastern Cape. You know?
Yeah.
There are also other cultures.
Yeah.
But I felt I didn't feel free as a linguist, as a person. Because the funeral was isiXhosa. The shops was isiXhosa. Everything was isiXhosa. So you needed to speak isiXhosa to have the power. Yeah. Like you needed to speak Afrikaans in Bloemfontein to have the power.
Definitely.
You see, wherever you come, it has to do with the context. So here in Priska, ons praat Afrikaans, maar dat ons die power.
Yeah.
So, ek gaan betaal nie my water in Xhosa net betaal hom in Afrikaans.
Sure.
So that's what I just wanted to add is that linguistic freedom or linguistic boldness in your freedom has to do with the context or the setting.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's the thing.
Okay, but then that just makes me feel like, you know, the uprise of '97 was not done in vain. No matter how you look at it, you understand? Even though we want to speak English and we want to speak Afrikaans, it's because of the fact that we have the right to do it. You understand? We have the choice to do that now, you understand? And so that, I think that's really a point of appreciation that we should really recognize.
It is. Now, to some extent, I feel like it really also.
Yeah,
It's still in the mind, guys.
I don't think it is. I think, like, you know, the information. My friend, You're my friend. Like, they try so hard. Like, it doesn't take them long to speak Afrikaans.
You know, my friends in Eastern Cape also speak Xhosa.
Yeah,
There's
the Somalis.
It's the setting.
Xhosa.
It's the setting.
It's the setting.
But another thing, before going with the setting, and my friends and people, you know, ons koop 'n loafbrood in Afrikaans en hulle verstaan ons. But another thing is that I saw is the media and language.
Okay.
Since again, Abigail Kubeka
Sure.
interview, she said that they aspired as models and actors and people to speak as the people spoke in the movies, and their only printed media was the drum magazine. But they also wrote.
Okay.
You spoke about vernacular language earlier.
Sure.
They didn't write in vernacular languages. They wrote in English in a proper received British pronunciation. And so the media from the apartheid era
Sure.
wanted our people to speak in a certain manner. And even our celebrities nowadays, how do they speak?
Yeah.
How do they speak? They speak like, they like to sound like the British people. Dear gentle reader.
Yeah.
You know, they want to push that out as a person.
I was going to ask you this question, but I guess you've covered it so well.
He's covering
everything so well.
Just touching.
Just touching and just going. Because I was going to ask, like in the beginning, I was thinking, how do we use language as a tool? But you just exhibited very well. You demonstrated very well. Because that's what they did. Even though the British media or the apartheid media and whatever, even today, we still live in that kind of setup. We have to use it as a tool. If you want to go onto TV, you have to use language as a tool. If you speak, we need
to speak in a certain way.
Right. I remember with the X Factor, they had Cheryl Cole. Remember, we need to fight for this love. That lady that used to sing that.
X Factor,
the American one, man.
Is it the one that you had to do extreme things like?
No. X Factor was the singing.
Oh yeah.
But she was a judge on it, right?
Okay.
But she was only on there for like 2 episodes because the people were like, she has a very Northern Ireland thick accent, and they can't hear her commentary. You understand?
But it's the same
They
with
took
this,
her out.
with this thing, this season 2 that came out of British Young and Famous. What is the thing?
Okay.
People were complaining that they can't hear this guy, the one who cheats a lot.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
I don't know if you guys watch it.
Yeah, no, I've watched an episode.
And his husband.
And his husband.
Yeah.
People were complaining they can't hear Annie's husband, and as a result, you can see Annie's husband sometimes refrain from saying a lot of things because he's uncomfortable that people can't hear what he says.
You know what?
Wow.
So me seeing Mhlongo, I always thought he was an illiterate.
Yeah.
Because of the manner that he spoke.
Yeah.
His accent. But I saw an interview. He's quite fluent in English. He just has an accent.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And we judge quickly based on accent.
It's what we said earlier on. Language is to some extent linked to intellectualism. We feel like Umdu who can't speak properly is not intellectual enough. But then when you listen to the content, you actually hear that, you know what, this person is actually making much more sense than the person who can't speak who speaks properly.
Oh, forget me.
What?
Mara. Language and trauma goes hand in hand. Just as well as with identity. But I was doing what I don't think else. Papa's not doing it, it's fine. I can't know my story. But he was Xhosa.
Yes.
But he was identified by the government as a candidate.
Yeah.
So he never spoke in our house, never spoke his language, his mother tongue, never. We always spoke Afrikaans, and we didn't even have the chance to watch English television programs. We only watched Cakenet and Mnet would take cake. And we only read Huisgenoot and Kuier because his linguistic identity that he felt within himself was being an Afrikaner.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that identity was pushed on us, and that's why I am good in Afrikaans, because he didn't even, the only time that he spoke his language is this time when he got cancer.
What?
We was calling his mother.
Really?
He spoke when he was sick. He spoke his Xhosa when he was sick.
Yeah, it's, I mean, sure.
That's the thing. So language goes with trauma. Language goes with a lot of things that the apartheid government also caused.
Yes.
Sure.
As a person, because he couldn't. He also needed to sharpen his tool of language in Afrikaans. So he also had a proper manner of speaking Afrikaans, so that people could believe him as a person, saying, "But you are really the Afrikaans person that you are."
Yeah, Ifana, I can relate. When we came to Ghana, I couldn't really properly speak Afrikaans. So what happens is, there was that era of Abosi the land.
Yes.
So I literally watch Usiwe the land and then listen, look at the subtitles so that I can at least understand, pick up here and there, and that's when I learned. That's how I learned Afrikaans, because the more you watch something,
you need to engage with things, with books, with media, to sharpen your tool.
Because it created some sense of belonging.
Weaponize it.
Remember, was when I went home, immediately when I got home, it's toss. It's toss. But the moment I'm exposed to the outside world, the Afrikaans. So somehow I had to belong. So now I had to sharpen my skills.
Oh, that's interesting, because that really happens in maybe it happens to everyone. It's like it's a trauma. It's a trauma because Xhosa then, I could only speak Xhosa at school, right? Because I could only speak Xhosa at school because we went to Tembelise, right?
Sure.
Everybody was Xhosa there. Even the maths is given in Xhosa. Even the English is given in Xhosa. Yes, right? So you have that, and then you come back and you have to play with your friends, you understand? And Royblock. And you have to speak Afrikaans now, which I did not mind, but I sort of kind of hid this Xhosa from them. Like you would hide this thing that you actually like.
Okay.
Right?
Sense of belonging.
Yes.
Trauma,
It's a trauma.
Trauma.
I would hide the fact that I do things like nursery rhymes that I used to love. Right? If I'm alone. If I'm alone. I would sing those things.
How do you know it?
Yeah. So like I would do those things in the house only, because my grand used to tease me that my class is not up to standard or whatever. So I would just do these nursery rhymes and whatnot. The moment any of my friends came in, I cut that shit. I cut it, and then I don't recognize it. That you understand. They talk about anything, even though I don't know what they're saying. I would just pretend like, listen, it's fine. We also do these things at school. You understand? Like there were words that I really had to, and so I hid it. And now that he's mentioning it, it was a traumatic experience for me, because I felt very expressive in Xhosa.
Sure.
Understand? But now it becomes the Afrikaans setup. Yeah, the dal. Like that's how they used to tease us most. Like, and especially when we went to Art Williams, right? We didn't want to hang out with the Afrikaans speaking kids. We didn't want, because we were the first. We were kind of like, we came over to Art Williams at a late-ish stage.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
We were still seen as the Bantu kids.
Okay.
You understand? And there was nothing we could do about it. That was true. Yeah, and then they were like, this is our school. You understand? Yeah. So it comes to identity again.
Identity,
right? So we didn't like each other. We only used to play with ourselves. You understand? With the Xhosa kids. The Xhosa kids, there was one class each. You understand? Not like the Afrikaans is like B, C, D.
Yeah,
right? And we would literally, that's why you'll find I'm still friends with Tulani. Tulani was a year ahead of me. you'll find that I'm still friends with Lance. Lance was 2 years ahead of me. Because we made sure that, you know, that we were in that same thing. We say that we understand we were in the same kind
so
of
it
like.
doesn't have to do with Ikhala, it has to do with your linguistic freedom, your identity, your openness.
We spoke Afrikaans. We spoke Afrikaans, right? We definitely did speak Afrikaans. Like in the location, everywhere we spoke it. But there was just that sense of community with our own. You understand, the people that you knew from there. You understand, and you'd play with them. You like, you know, soccer. You'd play with them.
But
the integration only came with sports.
Sure.
You understand, because then you kind of didn't have a choice but you know. But even in the sport, you would find that division. You'd find the division there. You understand, there was just like some kind of like, you know, sense of entitlement. I think with you guys starting at that school, you understand, it went better, because I remember when I was in grade 7, you guys being so close with Afrikaans kids. You understand, you guys were here and like that. It was like, what? You understand? You guys, it was beautiful. You understand? It was almost envious, because you guys had like a broader reach, like, you know, of personality, community. Yes, a better acceptance. You understand? But for us, it was tough.
Maybe I think it might be also they are transitioning from realizing that it's not us anymore.
Yes.
Being territorial. Yeah. It's not us anymore. We have to now accept that change is here.
No, like the thing is, with those kids that came with you guys, the Afrikaans kids that came with you guys, they could not have the sense of entitlement, because you guys got there at the same time.
In the sense,
right?
Yes.
Now
that's
with
what I'm
us,
saying with you guys. Yeah. They felt territorial.
Yes, they were very.
So now you guys are coming. What do you want to do? Like, it's hard to accept change for anyone.
They even made it difficult for our teachers, for our educators.
Obviously.
They would refer to the late Mr. McLean already. You understand? They would refer to him as Keleso.
Oh.
Right? Right, that was right. That was heavy. Right? That was deep for me. Yeah. So it was traumatic, right? There was a time where I didn't like.
Trauma will put you through.
Right.
Trauma will traumatize you.
And you see, sometimes languages, your parents also give you what you think of languages.
Yeah.
They also let you inherit that from them. Because I always had a problem with African languages. Because of the trauma that I went through at home. Because
sure, when did this change and how did it change?
It shifted when I went to university. Because there was no papa, there was no mama that could have led me in believing otherwise. I just had to sit there in the setting and do with the people and connect with them, even if they spoke African languages, because we were equal.
Yeah.
Sure.
Language and language is also part of community and equality.
It is.
You see, because you spoke Afrikaans, that's why those learners from Annie Williams kind of accepted me.
Yeah.
So school got a little bit better, you see, because we as a Priska, we speak Afrikaans.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So language, community, identity, trauma, language is a big thing.
It is.
It's a big thing.
I think in university you also let go of this inner conflict that you have when it comes to language.
Yes.
When you think of people that do not speak your languages, right, are somehow less than you or inept in a way, until you find them in the same class.
Complex.
Yes. Until you find them in your same class and you find out, oh, this person is actually doing better than you.
Yeah.
Right? They stand a chance to do much better than you do.
Sure.
You understand? So that has to break away. Like you kind of have to let go of that inner conflict. Let go of those beliefs, archaic beliefs that you have. You understand? So, yeah, go to varsity.
I think people should send their children to varsity.
Yeah.
It's the best place.
I recommend everyone to send their kids to varsity.
If they have the opportunity.
If they have the opportunity, if they have the means, if they have exposed your kid to a varsity. It is a nice experience. It builds you as a person, it builds you and you grow.
It does. It definitely does. It's just, well, you can't really say that much for the other counterparts, you know, like our white counterparts, because they still have the privilege of having their classes in Afrikaans. They still have the privilege of living on an island, in somewhat of an island. You understand, away from all of that, which I kind of think it's unfortunate for them, right? From my point of view.
Why would you say that?
Because you are depriving yourself from so much.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
However, like I say, they have an inner conflict that exists with them. You understand? So, but because there's a world after varsity for them,
Yes.
they will stick to that world and that, you know, their cultures and all of those things.
Sure.
So they'll just go back to what they know. You understand? Which is also great. I mean,
Unlike us.
but I see it as a blessing. I see it as a blessing. You know, I don't think it's you know, I just think they deprive themselves, but it's also a privilege for them. You understand? But for us, instead of seeing it as I'm being
a
disadvantage, I think of the other things that I'm learning. You understand? Because in South Africa, bro, you're gonna have to navigate this world because we don't have a world that is being built for us because of apartheid. You understand? You will find yourself, if you're studying accounting now here, right? You're going to have to do auditing in the KZN, right?
Sure.
You're gonna have a tough time if you are a white child, and this is just the truth. Not trying to, you are going to have a tough time having to go there and having to say yeah and amen to a black person that is above you that does not speak your language, and then only insist that you speak English.
Okay, English.
Like if you're white, I'm saying if you're a white
if
person,
you're white and you go to KZN,
right? And then you'll find that they get so frustrated, right? An uncle of mine, he said, he passed away now. He says that he would find highly qualified chartered accountants that would not mind working or in his office as accountants there. He was Afrikaans, obviously, he came from Victoria. He worked for a company in Bloem for their offices there. And he would find like these kids, right? They can go anywhere. They can go to Johannesburg, they can go to London, they can go to Cape Town. But they would apply for those posts even though they're a chartered accountant or have like, you know, all these accolades because it's Afrikaans. Language, yeah.
Sense of belonging.
And like they don't want to get out of the comfort zone. Like I said, they have this inner conflict with themselves.
Sure.
Right? Because I remember when I became prime as well, the only reason I believe why the inner conflict was not so tough for them was because I spoke Afrikaans to them. Right? And the reason why I even became prime is because they knew I could speak Afrikaans. So it's nice, you understand? But you know, if yeah,
you're like that thing of
right, but the inner conflict was for them, you know, they grew up on a farm, or maybe not on a farm, a small knit, close-knit community where they didn't really see people of authority look different from what they look like. So, but the language, bruh, when I started speaking Afrikaans and they could hear how I can speak Afrikaans, because they also have, let me stop speaking about white people, but there is a prejudice against colored people as well. Colored people have to speak Afrikaans in a way that is not white enough or not washed enough to pander. You understand? They're not seen as anything else other than, you know, like especially if you go anywhere. In fact, go anywhere, they don't see it. But I wanted to ask this question, right? Afrikaans and I'm sorry to make the topic Afrikaans now. Afrikaans, it's Creole, right?
Yeah.
So it really does belong to the people of color.
Yeah.
It belongs to colored people. Yeah, more.
Afrikaans was created.
Yes.
In the kitchens. You know where that kombuis Engels come from? Because there was a thing as kombuis Afrikaans.
Okay.
So Afrikaans, because of the settlers, they spoke Dutch, the Nederlanders. So die mense die kom basies kon nie mekaar verstaan en alles mos nou Khoisan en
Cape Malay.
Cape Malay en voordat die Cape Malay nog kom was daar net die Khoisans. Maar die Xhosa mense ook gaan van gederive. That's why the both languages have the clicks.
Okay.
Sound.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, no, but that's interesting.
So they needed to create a language that they understood and the settlers understood also. So hulle kom base Afrikaans gecreëer. Daarom as mense vir jou sê jy praat kom base Engels beteken dat jy's benede hulle. Want dit was die slaves wat die spesifieke Afrikaans gepraat het. And so the Arabic people came and the Malayan people came and they came with the function of writing and learning the people to write it down in Arabic script. So die mense het begin neergeskryf en Bybels gemaak in Afrikaans. En eers Afrikaans is so jong taal.
Yeah.
En Afrikaans het so gegroei. Ek dink Xhosa is maybe older than Afrikaans. And it never grew. But Afrikaans only were established as a language in 1925. Only in 1925. And only 15, 16, 20 years after that, Afrikaans was the main weapon of apartheid. So it means how powerful a language can be if people just work on it. And people just put the effort in to build this language.
So they worked together.
They worked together as a whole.
But I would also be afraid if I'm an oppressor, guys. If I'm a slave owner, right, or colonialist, and all of my subjects are speaking this language that I do not understand, what will I do? I will take that language.
Yeah.
You will?
I'll take that language and I'll make it my own.
Oh,
You understand? You understand? It's powerful. It's not even a tool, it's a weapon.
It is a weapon.
weapon.
It's a weapon.
Yeah. So some words were created because our people didn't even know the word drunk.
Yeah.
Wine was nothing to them. They never knew about
They
it.
never
Sure.
knew that. I know.
Yeah.
So die drankwoorde is geskep, shamok is geskep. Kom van Malay, pisang, ander goed. Is nie skepings wat van verskillende plekke afkom. So I want to sell you a pisang and then I show you pisang. And then you say, oh, pisang! Give me the pisang.
But it's got to be trained.
Yes.
That's what happens when language and language is trade, trauma, identity.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Language is a big spectrum.
Which, again, to bring me back to the point, like I can imagine how you have to feel being forced to speak only one language.
Yeah.
Or being forced to speak a certain language.
Or being forced to speak a certain language, like like the youth of 76, right? Like that was force.
That was force.
That was force. That was trauma.
That was trauma.
And now they speak it because our parents they speak Afrikaans.
Trauma response, kind of.
It's a trauma response.
It's a trauma response.
And they still feel, like you said earlier, white people do not want to see people in superior positions because they do not look like them.
Yeah.
We also do not want to see other people than white people in superior positions.
That is
period. Simple.
That is true.
I think it's vice versa.
Simple. It's vice versa.
Yeah, we will fight.
We do not trust our own.
Yeah, we will fight each other.
The thing with us is white people trust their people. We do not trust our people.
Yes.
We do not trust our languages.
Yes.
We are scared that when people are going to convey a message in our language, it won't be proper. So can Keenan come and speak who speaks proper Afrikaans to the learners? Whereas you could have just used an isiXhosa with the isiXhosa learners, or you could have just used English.
What we said earlier on with power. It goes with power.
And that's why I think our anthem doesn't work.
Why? That's before we finish. Why?
No, because people think they are going to sing Nkosi Sikelele and there's going to be cultural diversity.
Yeah.
And they're going to embrace other people's languages. No, they are not embracing other people's languages. It's because our anthem is constructed out of certain languages and then we think, oh, okay, I'm singing Nkosi Sikelele, so the people think I am not racist.
I think,
yeah, simple.
So it's a friend.
Simple, it's a friend. I don't like our anthem.
Whitewash.
Yeah, it's a whitewash. It's a whitewash. And the problem with our anthem is it's being translated from Afrikaans just to other languages. So it still has the power of Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Trauma, stem, God's in Africa.
Yeah.
Nkosi Sikelele.
Trauma response.
Trauma response.
Trauma response.
Everything. Another thing about language and race. Yeah. Generations Muvango. Generations Muvango. They had white actors at the beginning. They spoke Afrikaans. Why?
I remember.
I don't remember.
I remember Celeste in Generations.
Yeah.
The girl with the bar.
Yeah, Henry Rolfse.
Yeah.
Come on, Doki.
I was Chinese with the statement joke.
Yeah.
They were playing in Generations because there needed to be
Sunny
Afrikaans for
and
the
Betty.
for the crowd to be drawn. It's a person.
Yeah.
How do you feel then?
Oh, Sunny and Betty Williams.
Oh.
And there was black people watching these shows.
It was black people watching these shows.
It was.
It was black people watching these shows. Issy Dingo,
Dingo.
Scandal, all of them. Natasha Sutherland, Scandal.
Yeah.
But isn't it what we're currently doing?
Backstage.
But isn't it what we're currently
We
doing?
are doing it. Look at Igor.
Now, our podcast. Isn't it what we're currently doing?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think as Afrikaans praat, like that, you know, we want people to listen. Ons wil hê mense moet luister.
Ja.
Ek het nou dan gehoor, ja, jy sê ook na jou Engels, verstaan jy? Ons hoor jou woorde nie. So
you
hoe
moet ook
Engels
afval.
praat, verstaan jy?
Zodat ons kan verstaan dat
Yeah, you
ze-
go
So,
your
yeah.
errors te veel, né?
Ja,
Vir die
ek sê
mense.
like, ja, die mense voel net jy sê sommige kere ja, it's like jy praat 'n ander Engels
Ja.
and like, you know, of jy rol sy tong en baie mense kan nie hoor wat sê nie. Verstaan jy? So no,
Yeah,
maar I think well,
complicated.
if my objective is to get viewers.
Yes.
Like, I want to get people to listen to it.
Sure.
Not just get viewers, obviously. I want people to listen to what I'm
Listen.
saying. It doesn't help me speaking English
Yeah.
and convey a message if the message won't be heard.
What if not all viewers are Afrikaans?
Yeah, that's what ek dink. That's what I think most of the time.
So, but most of the time you still speak Afrikaans just to accommodate the ones
Yeah.
that said that you don't roll the field. So is there no trauma response?
It is. I mean, like, even like the fact that I speak Afrikaans now more than I have in the last 4 years as a trauma response. Because when I got back from varsity,
Sure.
because I had to speak English the entire
Ek
time.
onthou jy baie Engels gepraat.
right.
Yeah,
So
I don't
then
know
people-
why, guy. At school, you were speaking Afrikaans properly. Where is this English coming from now? As a person, I judge you. I'm sorry, but I judge you.
Exactly.
Hoe kom judge you? Hoe kom jy moet judge?
Because people, but
Yo, I
it
knew
was-
him from school, most.
Yeah, but it was like the
En
thing.
hoe had je gegaan?
Yeah.
En je net, als het te zeggen, hallo Kona, hi guys, how are you? I'm good.
But guys,
En-
listen.
Yeah.
Like, I literally, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, ik praat Engels.
Yeah.
As if I'm Priskani.
Yeah.
I was like, ik verstaan Afrikaans, but you'll find me halfway through a sentence, I won't be able to finish Afrikaans.
En dan
sentence.
switch je.
Then I switched back because it was a
Comfortable.
mannerism. And it was all of my friends. If you go to varsity, right,
Yeah,
you want to get out of your comfort zone a bit.
sure.
Right? And you don't want to be so much around other
Yeah.
people that you know that much.
Sure,
You go
sure.
look for them.
Yeah.
You go look for them. If you want to hang out and you feel, oh, you're a bit nostalgic. Or you speak
Je was
homesick.
een
Bestaan je?
Ja.
Dan ga je naar hulle toe, dan gaan praat je ook. Kan praat je heel Engels. Dan krijg je voor Justin en voor Zine en voor Anthony. Dan praat je zo heel dag Afrikaans. Bestaan je?
Sure.
But now I have to go back to JBM, where there are like half of the students are black.
Sure.
And it's not just one black. It's like Sotho, it's Pedi, it's Xhosa,
Tswana.
Tswana, it's Zulu, it's Shona. My roommate was Shona.
Sure.
You understand? I had to live with a guy for 3 years. I could not speak anything with him. I couldn't speak any other language with him.
Like,
I had
switch on
to.
the TV,
I had to.
pass me on.
Yeah,
Oh, go,
I
go.
literally had to speak English most of the time.
Yeah.
I was like my video of instruction was English. I had to conduct house meetings in English. So for me, when I came back, I brought no. Like in my English, like my English battles are depleting.
Are
It's
they depleting?
depleted. It's depleted. I'm holding on to a thread. I'm holding on to a thread. I save it for interviews. You know, for job interviews, if I have to travel outside of Prisca, you know, and it's like, yeah, now I've saved you. I've saved for the podcast, of course. But, you know, Afrikaans, and also if I speak Afrikaans, they're like, well, no, you can't know Afrikaans.
Yeah.
And that's why I let go of Afrikaans, because that I literally sounded like that. Like, after the trick, if I spoke Afrikaans.
But that's where you learn Afrikaans.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Observer's paradox.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You learn it then.
But then again, it was trauma. It was trauma, so I had to let go of it. Like, you know, because if I speak Afrikaans.
But our teachers were terrors.
Yeah.
Yo,
They were.
our Afrikaans teachers.
So now you go.
Like you just had to.
You had to speak properly. If you did oral, she would say,
Yeah.
Keenan George.
If you don't
Yeah,
speak
yeah,
Afrikaans,
yeah.
yes.
Yep.
And then what you might say?
And then you should just speak
Yeah,
next
yeah.
time. Next time.
You had a traumatic experience.
Yes.
Oh, bro, that was traumatic. And then imagine this, as black as I am, my name being Akona Nkombela. I go to Bloom, right? With all of the black people there, and I tell them I can't speak tonight.
Johnny.
And then my phone rings,
Johnny.
and then I speak Afrikaans. They're
Ooh, come get on it, cause I did.
like, oh. No, but like, Bloom,
Like
there's
you
no
do
close- yeah.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, Aibo, Akona. You know, like,
Johnny, man.
right? Like I used to hang out with the I used to hang out with the Xhosa guys in Riz, right? But I used to I tried to avoid them as much as I can until
What?
because
Judged. You don't want to be
yeah,
judged.
like I could sit there and
Coconut.
I could yeah, exactly.
He's actually Akola Hunkompelo.
Yes.
That kind of.
Yes.
It don't say ungombela.
Hunkompelo.
Because they have to they don't understand why they have
Hi
to
guys.
He's
You know, white people actually took us for one. Because if you had
Took
to,
us where you want.
bruh, like.
But what
I was like,
about
yeah.
who can't even direct us?
But it's the same thing. It took us for one. Like, about for one. But I know, but like for one is English. That's them. One is English.
It's fine. One is English.
But
Keep it then.
like you know, if you look at their surnames were so difficult, and they could high and low swear. You know, like.
Who was the name?
Yeah, yes, I can't like. They just had like these very difficult.
Who, the white people?
White people.
Nievenhuizen.
Yeah.
And the Westhuizen.
Hazen.
Still here.
So yeah, and there's an S at the end.
There's an S at the end. Still here.
And it starts with a C.
Copenhagen.
Yeah, like it's
But it's nice people, eh?
It's nice. You guys are nice people though.
Your surnames.
You make the best cook sisters.
No, I make the best cook sisters, not you. You see, and some of the products in Sweet Trees doesn't have African names.
Yeah.
Cook sister.
And
Yeah.
Roervors.
Yeah.
Biltong.
and they were literally made by black people.
Literally.
Think about it.
as you did.
Literally.
Think about it.
Biltong was a survival method. You had to jerk it. Like let's say I was given
Yeah.
a droog maak.
Yes,
So that
yes.
you product. You want to
Yes.
say te gaan.
Yeah.
You preserve it.
Preserve it.
Biltong is no so dear and it's not biltong.
And we don't even make biltong.
We don't even make it.
Who is making biltong now?
Exactly.
Sorry, white people.
They took you. Please don't say everything.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys are like no shade, no nothing, no tea, or maybe all shade, all tea.
Yeah.
Understand?
But we were just talking about the linguistic freedom, so we needed to touch on a lot of things
Yeah.
that make the language unique for us to
Yeah.
understand linguistic freedom.
Yes, like and unfortunately that language had to be Afrikaans because we speak Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Right, and Afrikaans was also used as a tool or as a weapon of oppression.
Sure.
You understand? But now we've taken that tool. You understand? Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing with this thing. You understand?
Yes.
That's why salad don't come do nobody done. You cannot see me can oppress with it. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
You sound
yeah,
see me can
yeah.
We
oppress.
are now bold within
We are
within
bold.
our Afrikaans linguistic freedom.
Sure.
No man, thank you Keenan. Like that was so insightful. It was really like there's a lot of things that you know, like the Xhosa and the Khoisa thing and the click thing.
Yeah.
But it makes so much sense. Your presence and your content is very insightful. It's very enlightening.
It was nice having you here.
Yeah, no, the kids are privileged to have you as a teacher.
Thank you.
Like,
for
I hope they
having me.
appreciate you.
I think so.
Yeah,
I hope so also.
yeah.
But thank you for having me. It was nice.
It was nice. I
And
enjoyed.
yeah, conversation flow.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
Would you want to be here again?
No, certainly,
Yes.
dear gentle reader.
No, we would love to have you back in the show. We would love to have you back in the show. Like I said, it was very informative.
Nice.
It's nice having young people talk about these things.
Yeah, insightful topics.
Insightful topics. I hope our viewers enjoyed it. I think they enjoyed it. I think they did.
I hope so.
Before we close, I do want to touch on the fact that this is Child Protection Week that we are in.
Okay.
And we must raise awareness around it. Please protect your children.
Yeah.
Child Protection Week began in Australia, and then South Africa adopted it, of course, with the Works of Social Development, SEPS. And did you know about 700,000 children are abused yearly?
700,000.
700,000. And 1/3 of those die because of abuse. Half of the cases get lost, are not solved,
And these pedophiles are amongst us.
and they are monsters.
They
So
are.
I'm just putting it out there
They are.
for you to protect your children. I know that at times we said, "Mntanakho, mntanam, ubuntu."
Yeah, it doesn't work.
But is it still working? Is it still there? Are we still applying it in the community? Is your child still my child? If I see your child being abused, neglected, do I do something about it?
No.
Or am I quiet as a person? As a community, please like, please share, please comment. I know it's not part of the topic, but I'm just putting it out there since we are in the week of child protection.
It's very
So,
relevant. It's a relevant.
Think about it. Comment. How do you feel? How far have we come as Priska in protecting our children? At schools, at homes, are they safe? Are their rights protected? Are they acting out their rights? You know, just think about it, comment, like I said, like, do interact, we'll touch on it, we'll look at your comments and then we'll react.
Okay, before we go, I just want to ask you one question. Did you know I was going to wear green? Like every time, have you noticed?
Yes.
There's the thing as a spirit.
Yes.
There's a thing as a spirit, as a dress spirit.
What?
There is a thing as that.
Do you call it a desperate?
Yeah, you know, but sometimes you are brightly being there at school and I'm also brightly being there. There's the spirit.
Yeah, this is
I did
very.
not know. I did not know. Last
Of
week
course,
was
there's
green.
no way you could have known. Last year was red.
That's another
Yeah,
thing
it
you
was
should touch.
red last week.
You should touch. Energy and
Yeah.
spirits.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yes.
And also, guys, viewers at home, please remember we have the KKLG hosting the Savage Party this weekend. Please do attend. Tickets will be made available from any members of the KKLG. Details will be shared on our social media platforms. Ticket is 30 Rand, you get 2 for 50 Rand, so that's a 10 Rand save. That's for Saturday
So,
on the 3rd of June. Yeah, and like you said, we believe that children are the future.
so.
Treat them well and let them lead the way. I know that it
It's not
sounds,
you are.
it's Whitney Houston, but
He
it's not
died.
true.
Who's
But
Bezone?
it's true.
It's my mantra also as a teacher. I believe the children are our future.
Yeah,
You?
Yo.
I
lead
had
the way.
lead the way. No man, this thing sounds familiar.
But this was actually a poem, everyone.
It is, right?
That is just song.
But it's profound.
Don't
It's very
don't
profound.
attack Whitney. Don't
Yeah.
attack
Do it
Whitney.
again
Never.
with boldness.
In your linguistic freedom.
No,
I
I'm
mean-
good. Thank you. But my message is out there already. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you, fam. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. We thank you, Keenan.
Thank you.
I am your host, Akwana Kompela.
And this is your presenter, Kangisa Mdlobovana, aka Make.
Keenan George.
And this was the power of conversation. Thank you for joining. Good night.
Bye.